or liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam house spinning.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. All gotten discombobulated. You know how it is on the Tractor Beam Comics reviews. Sometimes we get all that. I had a busy day, so I was working on the notes and getting everything right and spick and span for you tonight for the Tractor Beam Comics reviews. Your one-stop shop normally for in-depth commentary and discussion on this week's comics, but there weren't any Star Wars comics this week. So it is Wednesday, April 23rd. It is the 17th week of comics and of life in 2025, but no comics today. So we just don't have a show. Joel, nice to see you. No, I'm kidding. There we go. Filling in tonight. Chris is still getting over the jet lag from Japan. So Joel is filling in tonight. We're chatting all about Star Wars Celebration. We're kind of doing a bonus episode of Ion Cannon, if you want to call it that, but on the Tractor Beam slot, on the Tractor Beam feed, on the Tractor Beam everything, banners and all that jazz. And we will start by talking about comics in just a bit. First off, Joel, welcome back to the Tractor Beam. It's been a week.
It has.
There we go.
Welcome. Glad to be on.
Yeah. How are things in Underworld, Orange County land?
They're okay. It was actually really cloudy, and then it got like sunny for like 5 minutes. Now it's cloudy again.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's not too bad here in Toronto, Underworld North Studio in Toronto, Canada. All right, let's dive into plugs. Get those out of the way. You can of course follow us on Blue Sky, primarily at Ion Cannon. Also Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Ion Cannon Pod. Check all the socials out there. If audio is more your speed, look up Tractor Beam Comics reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I will throw this episode up once we're done recording. I will be sure to do that. Also check out everything Chris is up to, youtube.com/starraptor, STARRAPTER. He is furiously getting through all the comic recaps that he missed, and I'll get to that at the end, how we're gonna deal with that in the coming weeks. But we will get you all our thoughts and reviews on all the comic books that have come out in April and May. Don't you worry, but do check out everything he's up to at youtube.com/starraptor, and still on Twitter at STARRAPTER at starraptor there. Last but certainly not least, we are proudly part of the Star Wars Underworld podcast network here on the Underworld YouTube channel as well. YouTube, Underworld Facebook, and Underworld Twitch, as well as Ion Cannon Twitch. In the Underworld network, you can check out the Discord server. Star Wars Underworld Discord server is kind of the main thing there. Down in the description below, there's a minty fresh link to join in on the fun. We are talking about Andor. Spoilery. There's an Andor spoilery channel that I have muted until I finish actually watching the thing. There's all sorts of a celebration channel, lots of celebration news that we're going to get into this week. All sorts of conversations going on, including some movie nights and some game nights. Joel, I don't know if you have anything planned coming up, but please do let us know.
Our plan is to rewatch the first 3 episodes of Andor Season 2 this Friday.
Nice.
So check it out there.
Do you know what time? Usually 6 Pacific?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Pacific times, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so 2 days from right now. Check it out. I will be watching Revenge of the Sith. No, I guess I'll have just gotten out of watching Revenge of the Sith. But anyway, that'll be fun. Definitely check out
this on Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But definitely check out Andor season episodes 1, 2, and 3 on the Discord server. You guys hanging out. Is it going to be chatting in the voice chat or in the text chat, or?
No, I'll be in the voice chat.
Okay,
chat and text and all that good stuff.
So if that is your speed, go check the link in the description below. Also, I forgot to mention on the YouTube channel here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, we have YouTube memberships and we have super chats. So we will get to every comment as best we can. But if you super chat us, we'll get to it lickety split right now as soon as we can. So please, we are grateful for any support you can provide to the channel and the network. All right, I think that does it for plugs. We'll pick those up again at the end, including the actual Ion Cannon podcast. We'll talk about that at the end there. First off, we'll get into this. I had hoped to be able to do spoilery thoughts. I didn't have time to watch all 3 episodes. I'll just be full on honest. So I've only seen the first 2 episodes. My impressions so far are really exciting, really intriguing, especially of course everything with Chandrila was going to be really intriguing. I'll try to keep this non-spoilery. I'm curious to know, and maybe gets answered. Don't tell me this if this gets answered in the 3rd episode. Curious to know how important that gang that Cassian finds himself in the middle of. I got the reveal at the end of episode 2. That was cool, but we'll go to that. But I'm curious to know, because it seems kind of like, what's the point of these guys? I have some theories, but especially because in Tony Gilroy, I trust his ability to plot out a story incredibly well. So that's fascinating. Everything happening with Bix and the folks from Ferrix that we see in the trailer, you feel it. You feel the nerves. You feel the anxiety that they're under in their circumstances. So first 2 episodes really well done. I gotta say, I'm not really liking this release order, only because it's inconvenient to me. Darn it. I don't have time to watch 3 episodes, but such is life. No one's saying I have to have them all finished, but it is interesting. Maybe next Tuesday when I will maybe have time to watch all 3. We'll see. Because I'm also seeing Revenge of the Sith that night too. What the sense is, what the vibe is of sitting down and watching 3 new episodes all together. Joel, I'm guessing that's what you did last night. Well, what was that like to watch all 3 new episodes together?
Oh, it fit perfectly. It's like I watched the whole arc. It's like very complete. Like, okay, we're gonna make it stop. Well, obviously that's not entirely true. There's obviously things being set up for future arcs. I can already tell already, but there's definitely a finality to it once you watch episode 3 for certain. So these are definitely meant to be 1, 2, 3 done, and obviously with some seed for the bigger stuff. But definitely there is an A plot that gets finished by episode 3, which will be complete. And then we jump a year, and then it's going to be arc 2.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, kind of like, what it does is definitely eliminates the whole stress of the first episode or the first 2 episodes. I mean, they kind of eliminated that by usually dropping 2 episodes at once and then dropping 1 per week. But here, they just completely eliminate this whole sense of, oh, this is just leaving me in the lurch. So I already got that feeling just knowing it's coming immediately. What were your thoughts on spoilery thoughts on the arc as a whole?
Oh, I quite enjoyed it. It's kind of hard to talk about it without spoiling it. I'll just say, episode.
How did it make you feel?
Well, first of all, episode 3 trigger warning is all I'm going to say.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That I will say just for our audience, our 2 people listening, anybody who watches it.
Yeah.
Trigger warnings for episode 3 if you are, someone who gets uncomfortable about certain things. Just be warned that. So there's something to get excited for or scared of for next episode. Oh, sorry. How did it make me feel? Well, apart from that one uncomfortable moment in episode 3, which is really intense, I definitely felt that I got the sense that this season is not going to be like season 1, but not in like a bad way.
Sure.
I already got the sense that I mean, obviously, it's still got all the cool stuff we like. It got the slow moments. It got the talkie moments. It's got the Mon Mothma moments.
Mhm.
Got the very grounded boots on the ground. These are the actual people who live the everyday lives of Star Wars. They're not
Mhm.
special moments. But I also got a little bit more. There were a little bit more jokies, a little bit more of a punch,
Mhm.
a little bit more light. I don't know, maybe a little bit more, just less dourness to it. A little bit more hammy moments at times.
Mhm.
It's hard to really say what's what because I don't want to spoil it, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing you're referring to the Chandrila stuff, especially.
Not always.
Okay.
There was some silly little moment in the first episode that was non-Trandrillan, which I thought
Right.
was kind of funny
All
and
right.
old timey.
Mhm.
There's I'll just say, if you remember it, Matthew, there's
Mm.
one line said by one character where I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're
Yeah.
doing, show. I heard you. Um,
Mhm.
but it definitely
Yeah.
still got those Andor moments that I think we all like.
Mhm.
But I also got the sense that this isn't going to be like season 1. I think this is going to be structured a little bit differently because it is every arc is a year past.
Yeah.
I mean, this first episode is called Year 1. 1 year later.
Right. Yeah.
Minor spoiler, doesn't matter.
It says at the beginning BBY 4.
Yeah, BBY for BBY.
Yeah.
So, so I definitely think there's gonna be that, but I also think
Mhm.
there are it's still it's the same show, but it also feels like a different show, and
Yeah.
that's kind of that's kind of my non-spoiler way of saying it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think for our Mask of Fear discussion on Iron Cannon, Ellie, we talked about how um you know Ellie, the whole Rebel Alliance, the whole shtick of the Rebel Alliance. Yes, we can talk about real world political issues. At some point, Star Wars is going to Star Wars, and
Yeah.
it shows that this show is right. This show is going to Star Wars a lot more, in that it's gonna feel like more of a Star Wars show. It's gonna get into. I mean, it has to link up with everything
Right.
happening with the rebellion and the Empire in this time frame,
Right.
and that climaxes into Rogue One, and A New Hope.
Mhm.
And Tony Gilroy gets that. He understands that that's the story he's been tasked to tell.
Mhm.
Get the sense that he's taking it with the utmost seriousness.
Right.
That's the thing, because he could have been like, "Oh, Star Wars, I just want to tell a real world story," but no, he's telling as real of a real story as you can, while respecting. He's going to get into more and more of the sandbox that's being built up, being figured out, and he's got to. It's a challenge. I mean, that's the challenge of all these stories, and the challenge of especially Paper Cannon, for example, of finding the pocket. We'll get into this with the Adam Christopher novel in a bit. Finding a pocket to add something new in a relatively crowded field, finding that pocket. So
Yeah, and I'll
yeah.
just say episode 3, you will see how it gets real. Again, trigger warnings.
Yeah.
I know you're very spoiler averse, Matthew, but this is the one time I'm like, maybe I should let you know in advance.
Yeah, go ahead. I like trigger warning for
Bix assault.
Yeah.
That's
Like
all.
that, and yeah, okay. That tracks. Again, what that says is it's gonna go. I mean, this show's gonna go places that Star Wars just doesn't, and Disney just doesn't. And so again, the opportunity for this to be a moment in our culture, in our time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say
Yeah.
non-spoiler, but I'm like, oh wow, Disney
Yeah.
Plus did that. Okay, good,
I mean,
good to know. I mean, maybe bad to know, but good to know.
yeah, I mean, we can debate on Monday. We'll debate the merits of showing a scene like that and how it was done and
Right.
whatnot. which is to note on Monday on the Iron Cannon podcast. Iron Cannon, we are full on just Andor talk. We're not going to worry about secondary topics or anything else. We're just diving in.
And
like
sorry
we
for
did with
anybody
the
who's
Acolyte.
spoiler alert, but it's the one time where I feel like I'm calling audible here.
Yeah,
because
that's one of
unfortunately,
those
the show
things.
does not did do that, and they probably should have.
Yeah, that's one of those things
Mhm.
where it's the morning show did that.
Oh, that's good.
And it was it said it, the blurb at the beginning, like trigger warning.
Right.
Yeah. So
But outside of that, I mean, I still think it's the same show, and I agree. I think I do think this season, which and again will play into my whole Andor to Rogue One to A New Hope watch order, is gonna be a little more Star Warsy. And then when you watch Rogue One, the transition from that kind of grounded grid of Andor to the more traditional Star Wars will really start to shine.
Yeah. It'll feel more natural, possibly.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good to move on again. We are going to go into spoilery, glory details. Hopefully not gory details, but glorious detail on Monday right here on the Underworld channel at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Check that out. We'll have time to stew on it. You'll have time to stew on it, and we'll dive into everything from Andor. Eyes on screen. Our eyes are on screen. But for now, our eyes are still on Japan from Pacific Coast Party, wrapped up on Sunday. Celebration Japan 2025 wrapped up on Sunday. We are going to dive in to all the news, all the insights, different things. Obviously, not everything, but things that I guess stood out to me, stood out to Joel. Full disclosure, I did base some of this off of Joel's notes from his conversation on Monday with Red Leader. So hopefully it's not too much repetition, but that's kind of how we also, another thing we do is just different conversation partners makes for a different discussion, even though you've mentioned some of these things on Monday. We're going to start here on the Tractor Beam comic reviews. We're going to start with comics just because it's Tractor Beam. Why not? Starting with at the publishing panel, but also the manga panel a little bit there. So we're going to start talking about comics and the High Republic, last piece. So this is quoting from the website article. I'll do a lot of quoting from that because got to do the notes quickly, but so the website or the StarWars.com article says the last piece of the Phase 3 puzzle can be found in Star Wars: The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi. Kevin Scott returning for the final arc of the Explosive miniseries. Now, this was the big one that was kind of new to me. That it'll conclude with a special finale one-shot issue called The Beacon, and that releases July 30th. The Beacon, like Starlight Beacon, but okay. So that's after Trials of the Jedi, just to note, because that comes out in June. So yes, High Republic ending with that one shot. Also continuing with comics, and I do got a visual to bring up here. In the panel, this is talking about Mark Guggenheim talking about his current Jedi Knights series, which of course we reviewed last week on the Director Beam, issue number 2. Keller and Beck will be featured in issue number 8 of Marvel's newest series, Star Wars Jedi Knights, and featuring some of the galaxy's most familiar and maybe not so familiar Guardians of Peace and Justice. And so that one will hit shelves in October. Pop that up there. That's so awesome. Ahmed Best, of course, the great Ahmed Best. And there you see the main cover on the right, the direct edition cover by Juan Fernandez. The photo variant one in the middle. On the left is the lightsaber foil variant by Torrin Clark. This is gonna be one to pick up. Variants to pick up, to dive into. Even in the I caught Ahmed Best's interview on the live stage. I believe it was with Kristen or Anthony, can't remember, but he was talking about how cool it is. He's in a Marvel comic. He grew up reading comics and he was a Marvel guy, and so he's excited by this. I'm excited by this. Anytime we get more of Keller and Beck, I immediately watched the scene in The Mandalorian where he saves Grogu. Do that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing more of what he gets up to in this interesting anthology series. We'll move on to talking about books and manga. Actually, no, maybe that is a good place to pause. I'll pause there. we got some time. You are reading Jedi Knights.
Yes.
So I'll ask you, and you are following High Republic. I'll ask you, what do you think of Keller and Beck, and what do you think of him showing up in Jedi Knights?
Oh, I mean, it's cool. I mean, if these characters around, I mean, let's use them, right? Like,
Yeah.
you let him do something. I mean, kind of a blank. He's kind of a bit of a blank slate of a character outside of his appearance in Mando. It's like
Hmm.
don't really know what he did most of the time. So it's like, yeah, what was he like in the Jedi Order? Was he a master?
Hmm.
What did he do? I think he's got name dropped in a few other things here and
Yeah.
there. But yeah, I'm excited for this. This is a good it's a good avenue for him to be in. So
Hmm.
let's go.
Yeah. Really cool looking cover there with Yoda, and I can't quite tell who else that is. Any better eyesight? Also,
Doesn't
I
look like anybody we
watching.
know.
Yeah, might be the new characters whose
Right.
names I forget. Um, Watching that clip from the Mandalorian or the scene, that's definitely a Naboo starship. That's definitely Naboo, uh, Naboo Guard, Royal Guards. So maybe this will explore something to do with Naboo. I mean, we're going to Naboo in Legacy of Vader. Might be going to Naboo in this, possibly, maybe not. But um, that'll be a nice tie-in if Mark took us there, but not necessarily. I mean, this character definitely cool, definitely appreciating, you know, before High Republic, lightsabers are blue and green, except for Mace Windu. Um, his reasoning for wanting a purple lightsaber did not fit with George Lucas' definition of the balance of the Force. So I'm glad he has a green lightsaber. He looks amazing in that green with that green lightsaber. And yeah, continued love for Ahmed Best. I mean, he's a cool character. He does kind of push the edges a little bit in kind of my vibe, my sense of it. But just I mean, all we've seen of him in canon, of course, is Daring Rescue. There's that kids show, like kids game show that isn't canon, but he built a backstory for it. So I wonder if he had any kind of input in the story, or at least what he said, and Mark Guggenheim took that and said, yeah, looking forward to that.
I hope so.
Yeah, and then the Beacon, man. July 30th again, High Republic again, finishing with a comic book. I can guess how you feel about that, Joel, but um I mean, I thought that was exciting. I thought that deserved maybe a bit more attention in the panel. I'll say this, but yeah, the Beacon. I mean, because Starlight Beacon in Phase 1 is so important, obviously, and then of course the fall of Starlight Beacon. Does this mean they're going to kind of reflect on the meaning of Starlight Beacon? Is that beacon going to be symbolic of something else? I don't think they're going to rebuild Starlight Beacon. That doesn't seem to make sense. But I don't know. What do you think of it ending? Kind of the kind of this epilogue to the whole initiative, because the finale is Trials of the Jedi. What do you think of this epilogue to this initiative being in a comic book one shot?
Depends on what the epilogue covers. Am I right? It's like my
Yeah.
problem with Phase One's cover. It's like, isn't that when the storm activates and Marcion gets his little mini territory?
No, the storm wall is in one of the novels. There is in the George Mann Phase 3 novel.
Really,
So
I thought the comic of that Marcion's comic for Phase One ends with him kind of getting his little mini empire by the end.
a little bit, yeah. Like they're kind of in retreat, but the storm wall, which really cements but anyway, yeah, it definitely, it has a bigger moment than I think this will have.
Well, as long as it's like like this is where Marcion Rogue finally dies. It's like as long as it's more like kind of like more reflection and not like here's a big event, Marcion's
Yeah.
dead.
Mhm.
Then that's fine. Maybe I'll get a little annoyed. It's like, oh, this is where Plagueis shows up. Not I'm kidding, of course. But no, I mean, if it's epilogue-y enough, then I think
Mhm.
that'll work fine.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Again, it's gonna have probably all the heroes, because they mentioned characters from High Republic Adventures probably coming in, and from the Young Reader novels and all that. all these characters coming in. So whoever ends up surviving, yeah, it'll probably be a bit of a retrospective on that time period. So looking forward to that. All right, we can move on to books and manga. So this is, as I mentioned, we got some new insights from Adam Christopher. We're moving on a bit from comics, but a little bit of comics. This comic is going to be comic adjacent, literally. Got some new insights from Adam Christopher about his Vaderific novel, Master of Evil, which releases November 11th. First of all, he confirmed that this is in fact the book that he teased on Blue Sky. He is writing Master of Evil, releases November 11th. Sorry. And then wait, got a daddy on there. Also, he said he found a window. This was interesting. So this is the question of how does this relate to Charles Soule's 2017 run, and is it gonna kind of wipe out some things? Is it gonna fit with it? Gonna acknowledge
I wasn't
it?
afraid it was going to wipe out anything.
Yeah, I got the discipline of continuity, but he definitely Adam went into it in the panel. He said he found a window of storytelling that even Charles didn't notice, apparently, within that comic book run, the 2017 run, and he's going to put the story right in there. And the interesting thing, it's another example. We've talked about this on Iron Canada about him exploring the Sith dark arts and reviving the dead. Padme. Again, which that's what he's doing with the castle in the Vader comic, and in that the visual thing, I forget what it's called, that experience, that Oculus Quest thing. Adam also said that Palpatine is somehow supportive of Vader's rabbit trail down this quest for the dark arts. Curious about why Palpatine might be supportive. I mean, I think it might have to do with, it's a dead end. It's going to lead him just to more frustration, into more just consolidating power as a Sith, right? And that always does end up, that never ends up supporting life. It always ends up increasing anger and fear and control, and giving a thirst for power. That we do see Vader have that, maybe a more subdued way than cackling Uncle Sheev, but yeah, I can see those the reasons, because he knows he's not actually going to bring Padme back from the dead.
I mean, maybe it's a win-win. It's like, if obviously we know it's not going to happen, but like, if like, I could just imagine if like Palpatine actually like, oh wow, you actually did it. Like, I'll just take your notes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just give this to the boys on Exegol for safekeeping. So it's like win-win, right?
Yeah.
You get some new powers, and if he loses, then Palpatine can just make fun of Vader and destroy his spirit even more.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah, sharing research, pooling of resources. Come on,
Exactly.
knowledge, getting a good knowledge base there.
Exactly.
Now that Plagueis is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on a little bit, a few more updates on the book side. Chris Kempshall teasing a Wedge Antilles or Rebel Alliance book, in light of the incredibly successful and wonderful, I do need to read more of it, Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire.
I would love it to be Wedge's either biography or his memoirs. I think that would be cool.
That'd be interesting, because he just teased it with like what Red 2 standing by. So maybe, I mean, given the success of Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, I'm leaning towards it being a similar kind of thing, but with the Rebel Alliance, especially with Andor, with Rebels, with all this material we have with Mask of Fear. Think Revenge of the Sith. I think we can. I think there's a lot for him to do. Even again, we did an episode all about that. So there's some. So that makes sense. I think it would be good. But yeah, like a different angle for this Wedge book. I mean, if it's a Rebel Alliance book, I mean, I can guess what you think about it. But what does that sound? How does that sound to you?
Oh, either way, I would love it. Wedge book, good. The Wedge needs more love. If it's a Rebel book, I mean, it'd be interesting because it's sort of like, although you'd think they'd wait at least a little bit till the trilogy, the Reign of the Empire trilogy, is kind of over.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how did the other rebel cell sphere. I mean, where the Mon Cala that was the Mon Cala cell like the more organized one? How did Dodonna finally defect and organize Yavin group? And how do these cells differ from this? And blah blah blah. So an overall rebel book would be cool. Although, if you want to do a Wedge memoir biography book, that'd be awesome too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's
I'm
no, so good.
down for it. No, I'm just saying,
No,
I'm down for either.
Yeah. I mean, that Wedge book is making me think of the counter. Like Picard, Janeway, Cisco, they all have these autobiographies, and they're basically summaries of their life through the shows.
I've
Maybe
heard of the
something?
Kirk book.
Yeah, the Kirk
And
one too.
I heard one thing I heard about the Kirk book, which I always found funny, was in the book Kirk would
Yeah.
say, "Some of my adventures have been over exaggerated over the years," and I always feel like it's like he's making almost like retconning the fact that
Yeah.
TNG is almost like the non-canonical versions of his adventures in some way, like
The original series, you mean, or
yeah,
I
like
mean,
those are like the
yeah.
over exaggerated versions of my adventures
Yes.
and stuff like that. Sort of funny.
So I mean, Chris Cumshall wouldn't do that. I think Beaumont Kin would be more by the book, by the
Unless he's
whatever,
doing it in
but-
Wedge's voice, like it is Wedge
Yeah.
writing his own book.
It could be like a Wedge autobiography. I think he did say he wants to try and explore a different voice.
Right.
Probably not Kitchen Braves, like Kristen actually read Kitchen Braves. That would be great. But yeah, I can see either being good, but I'm leaning towards a Rebel Alliance book. When in Japan, you got to talk about manga, and there was a whole slew. I didn't get the image. There's a whole slew of manga that's already come out or coming out, including 6 or 7 High Republic books. Yeah,
I hear those are very
6,
good.
5 or
Those
6.
manga High Republic.
Yeah,
books.
they're great. One came out yesterday. The Edge of Balance books, which we will talk about on Tractor Beam, I promise, with Premonition and Volume 4. We will get to those. But also because there was a whole separate panel about that announcing. I mean, there was also the original trilogy releases and all the other releases, announcing that Zahn's first canon Thrawn novel is going to get the manga treatment. Also, here's a fascinating one: Jedi Fallen Order. The story of Jedi Fallen Order is getting a manga, which I mean that kind of blows my mind. They're going to do that. Similarly, we got a few updates on the Path of the Lightsaber manga series by Kenny Ruiz. This comes out in October. I think we mentioned that on Tractor Beam before. We got some internal art from that. Bring that up there, and also some updates that it's a tale set in. This is from the article. It's a tale set in the sequel trilogy with ties all the way back to the golden age of the Jedi in the High Republic. So there you have again, High Republic as an era, as the opportunity for storytelling. You have this character exploring a Jedi temple and digging into the past, but they're set in the sequel trilogy, well, like Legacy of Vader, set in the sequel trilogy and going back not quite as far, but we have that. So that's the manga news. 2 more bits of book news, kind of the R universe, like the reference books, I should say. There's going to be an art of book for the original trilogy manga, so that'll be interesting, like an art of for manga, kind of the design decisions, because you have to make different design decisions about Luke Skywalker and what he looks like in manga. And of course, Phil Szostak, the inimitable Phil Szostak, writing and compiling Art of Andor, the complete series, and that releases March 2026. So we've gone through a whole bunch of stuff. We mentioned we've already talked about Master of Evil. I remember, I keep thinking Legacy Vaders, Master of Evil, and then Chris Cumshall's book. Anything in the manga news that stands out to you?
I think probably Jedi Fallen Order getting a adaptation, because I think that's been like the first video game adaptation, honestly, for a long time. I think the last one was Force Unleashed getting a novel. No, Force Unleashed 2 got a novelization. I think.
Yeah, and a comic.
And a comic.
I think I have that comic.
Nice. But no, I think that's a really cool idea.
Mhm,
I like that. I'm very interested about this lightsaber
mhm.
sequel thing because there's gonna be like a new Knight of Ren that looks really
Mhm.
neat.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I think this is very cool. I hope these sell well and they just do more of this stuff. I know there's already there's already a couple. I know Lost Stars have the manga.
Yes, that's
Um,
true.
so I'm glad about that. So yeah, this is really neat.
And I think that so the Knight of Ren you mentioned in this,
Mhm.
it's a new Knight of Ren. I think she's gonna show up. I think it's she. She's also gonna show up in Legacy of Vader. I think it was um, Mark Benicia showed that. So because Charles wasn't there, but um, on the publishing panel. So character crossovers, all in paper canon. So excited. I mean, yeah, this one I'm probably most excited for, but I agree. I'm intrigued by that Jedi Fallen Order because it's such a different medium and it's such a different way of going through that medium of a video game.
Mhm.
But the story is such a classic story of setup and payoff uh and discovery and memory of Order 66 and all that. So I mean, I think it's such a solid, tight story too. So
Mhm.
I think that'll be good. I mean, I could see a novel of that. I could see like a Marvel comic of that too. But yeah, we'll get the manga. Why not? Um, there we go. And then you know the Art of Books. Yeah, you're excited. Are you excited for the Andor complete
Oh
series?
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's cool. I don't normally get the art of books that
yeah,
much. They're expensive and they're heavy. But no, I'm glad that Andor's getting one because I
yeah.
think that's cool.
And they're definitely waiting for a year from now, like March 2026. Uh, long after season 2 is done, long after the series is done, so everyone can see it and not get spoiled, whatever. Um, and it's give me the complete series. I mean, I don't know if Phil Sostak's have to have seen the whole series by now. He works for Lucasfilm, but
I'm sure.
yeah. Uh, all right, yeah. Is there anything up from the publishing side of things that you wanted to bring up
Um,
that I missed?
no, I think the new Knight of Ren's gonna be cool when Kylo had to go up against her. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it.
Right. I will say that is interesting, right? Like if you're sleeping on this Path of the Lightsaber manga, I mean, I'm sure Charles will do a great job of saying, yeah, building up this character is this character, but it's just this is how canon works, guys. It's the more you read, the more layers, the more rounded out things get. Um, like I here's the one thing I've in High Republic I've missed is that audio play by George Mann that came out a month or so ago, and now I'm reading Into the Light, which kind of spoils some of that. I suppose like the main final thing of that, but um,
The lucky thing is with me,
yeah,
I'm never gonna remember. So I'm like, oh, you'll probably. I might
yeah,
have passed that. Like I have no idea
yeah.
what that even was.
So, um, I mean, I'll probably pick that one up. Sorry, I have it on my phone when Audible, but yeah, never like anyway. My point being, the more you read, the more layers, the more depth. I think kind of a kaleidoscope, rounded view you have of the Star Wars universe, of the canon, of paper canon. So I'm definitely going to get both. Obviously, we're doing Legacy Vader. I'm going to pick up Path of the Lightsaber. I'm very intrigued by this one as well, which is interesting. Hadn't thought to, but looking forward to it. All right, I'm gonna move on to screen. We got some time. Uh, get our eyes on screen here. Again, we're gonna chat more about Andor on Monday. And of course, when Chris is here next week, we'll get into kind of his own experience from being there at the actual convention, which was a different experience overall. Um, let's start with films. This was the first celebration since 2019 to have films to really talk about, which is wild. Yeah, I guess in London they could have talked about a little bit of a Mandalorian Grogu, but now they
No, that
really.
wasn't
Oh,
announced till
it
after.
wasn't
I think.
announced. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. So because London was 2023, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, linear time. So this is the first Star Wars celebration where they could talk about films So everyone's talking about films. So let's join the podcast area here. I haven't used that phrase in a while. So yeah, the biggest news, I think the biggest news coming out of Celebration is the Sean Levy movie, starring London, Ontario's Ryan Gosling. It has a name, it has an in-universe date, and an R-universe release date. Let's race side rule that. Actually, this one has the biggest chance here. Star Wars Starfighter. It's going to take place 2 years after Episode 9, and it releases 5 years. I thought it was 2 years. I don't know why I thought it was 2 years. 5 years after Episode 9. My mistake. 5 years after Episode 9, and releases May 28th, 2027. And guess what? It starts filming this week. So
This fall.
Not this week. Ahsoka's filming this week. Sorry, guys. It's Celebration and Holy Week, Easter. Okay, it's filming this fall. I knew that, Matthew. Okay, let me try this again. It takes place 5 years after Episode 9. Releases May 28th, 2027. Got that right. And starts filming this fall. Okay.
Ta-da.
There are a lot of facts, folks, and I was busy with church stuff, so bear with me.
You're fine.
Thank you. And I got all the book stuff right, so there we go.
Yes.
Yes. And also we do know there's a film coming out May 22nd, 2026. And I believe they have finished filming, or just about finished filming, called The Mandalorian and Grogu, as I mentioned. We got a few updates. Those who were in the hall, they got a glimpse of a buff Rod of the Hutt, grown-up Rod of the Hutt. There we go. And also Jon Favreau talking about the differences between the movie and the show, just the budget that he had, the kind of scope that he had. Joel, maybe you probably remember this one. I did watch that section, but maybe you can go into what kinds of things he talked about in terms of the differences between movie and show, because jog my memory.
Yeah, he went a lot into like just how TV normally goes into production like a year. It's a lot of a quicker process. That's just the nature of it, the nature of the beast. Here he had a lot more time to like choreograph scenes and plot out, how certain things look, a little bit more money to like build a little bit more sets and whatnot. I'm sure there's gonna be lots of volume use, of course, because that's just their thing at this point. They've sort of mastered it. Why wouldn't you? And yeah, this is very much it's a different process than making a TV show. And as someone who did totally not see, I didn't see the thing. I didn't see something. You didn't see anything. Had it described to me through my brain. And I'm curious. And ask Star Raptor this if when he comes on next week, because I was going to ask him this, and I wasn't able to. I felt like I noticed a difference in the quality of the visuals and the scene in terms of like, oh, this looks a little more cinematic, and Mandalorian looks pretty darn good. I mean, so do all the shows for the most part, But there are definitely something of like, oh, this seems like this looks like even more of a movie than what Mandalorian can oftentimes look like. Just with like the pan shot and like the one shot with the action, the AT-AT. I mean, that was definitely one of the big takeaways. It's like, I think we're going to see the difference between this is a very nice looking TV show. Oh, this is what a movie looks like, and what the techniques and kind of the schedule and the crafting of that. I think that was a big thing. I'm glad Favreau mentioned it. That was really good point.
We're gonna remember what a Star Wars film looks like.
I mean, granted, even the good stuff. I think Andor looks great, but
and also an interesting thought there. All the directors have done such a great job. Love everything Bryce Dallas Howard does. Get her a movie, please. Get her a Star Wars. I think get her to outdo her dad. Solo was good, but I think Bryce Dallas Howard, with the time and the budget and everything, she would knock that out of the park. This is Jon Favreau getting to direct a whole show, a whole story in one. Right? He's he's the director of the film, right?
Right.
Getting to direct a film as opposed to having to delegate and say, okay, we're writing this or developing the story together, but you direct and you direct, and there's it's just different, right? Again,
Right.
Rick Famuyiwa, Famujima, I forget his name.
Famuyiwa. Rick
Yeah,
Famuyiwa.
I got it right the first time. He did a fantastic job, but it's very different from Bryce Dallas Howard, very different from Dave Filoni. And so this will be, again, it was Mando seasons 1 and 2 especially never felt inconsistent, but you could notice the different styles, which is fine. It's how a good show can work. But this is going to be a film, and the story is going to be structured differently. So I just hope they tell a big enough story that merits a film. I don't know. It's hard to say that because because I'm just used to, that's the hang up I had at the beginning of when this thing was first announced, was maybe part of it was that we're just so used to the Mandalorian and Grogu, these characters having their story told through this time frame, this medium of whatever half hour to 40-minute to 50-minute episodes in a longer series, and then a film is just a shorter time span, right?
Although not by much. I mean, like I've been
Yeah.
doing the counting of some of these streaming shows.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Kenobi, that's 4 hours total. That's an
Yeah.
uncut movie right there.
But it's also it's an uncut movie that came out over 5 weeks. Whereas you're sitting in the theater, it's one and done. But I mean, of course, with Kenobi, I literally sat in the theater and watched the whole thing, which is great. One of the great memories.
Did you do the whole show in theaters?
Just the one I was able to see here in Toronto.
Okay. Oh, right.
Most of it was just the last 2 episodes, I believe. Most places, but the one here was all 6.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was a special day. But yeah, so in Favreau I trust. I remember this is the guy who directed Iron Man. Come on. Yeah, so fantastic. So yeah, looking forward to that. Starfighter, London, Ontario's Ryan Gosling. A lot of folks have talked about, this is the first foray into new material. This is going to be after the Lego special thing, right? We said after the Christmas special.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is truly uncharted territory.
Somebody said on Twitter, and I think they're right. We can debate semantics if you want, but
sure,
that this is neither a sequel nor a prequel nor a spin-off to anything. And again, we can debate semantics about what those mean, but it's not a sequel in the same way the sequel trilogies are sequels.
Mm-hmm.
It's not prequel in that both things like Kenobi and prequels are prequels, but also not a spin-off in the same way like Rogue One and Solo and Kenobi are spin-offs of anything. This is like the first time in a while where it's like, this is both uncharted territory and like the only connection to Star Wars is that it's in Star Wars. I mean, maybe Rey will have a cameo at the end, but you're right. Like it's uncharted territory in like the purest sense.
Yeah. It's that's true. I mean, it's still going to be. Yeah, so sorry, gathering my thoughts here. Sean Levy, I mean, I think he's the one who said that, or Ryan Gosling said that. And that's what they're definitely marketing that, right? They're saying, you don't have to know kind of what comes before. You don't have to worry about the world building. It's a wholly new take on characters. Reminded me of Visions, and we'll be able to mention Visions news briefly. I haven't devoted too much time to it, but this, of course, is going to be canon, like in the timeline. I mean, it's Star Wars Starfighter. It's definitely got the DNA, of like that Rogue Squadron movie that was going to happen. That isn't going to happen. That appeal of the Starfighter. Even Rogue One has that to some extent, right? The Battle of Scarif, that Starfighter action that goes all the way back to George Lucas being inspired by World War II films and air combat films, and so it's very much going to be within the action adventure Starfighter DNA. But it's Ryan Gosling, and it's Sean Levy, right? Deadpool and Wolverine. He coats has this veneer of goofy, fun action, but always has heart behind it, heart underneath it. It's Ken from Barbie. Yeah, again, fun veneer with a lot of deep heart to it. So one of the great actors of our time, I'd say now. Really fantastic. So yeah,
Oh,
looking forward to this. And then yeah, so good.
oh no, I just think what's also interesting and something I think we don't want to skip over is the fact
Mhm.
like this is going to be our little appetizer into what the post episode 9
Yeah.
era looks like, right? Like
Mhm.
this is a little taste,
Mhm.
little look
Yeah.
5 years after. I think
Sure.
that's kind of an interesting way to approach it, right?
Yeah. In
Yeah.
which is to say, it kind of is a prequel a little bit
Well, that
in a
brings the
way.
prequel to things to come eventually, but
Yeah. Yeah. Which
um,
is odd to think of, right? So it's not really a prequel because those things haven't come out yet, but it's a precursor, is what where you're getting at. I think is a precursor
mhm.
to they should mean Obi Chinoy Ray films, whatever those are. So
Ray
if
film
those
and
happen,
the Kinberg trilogy, which is
yeah, the
also
Kimber,
both.
yeah, all these things that are in the works that may or may not happen. This one, I mean, getting a name, getting the release date, Ryan Gosling being up on stage saying, "This is
Filming
what
in
this movie's
fall.
called." It's filming in fall. Uh, I'm feeling more confident about this one. Let's just say that.
I will also say it's nice that they did an official announcement because we've
Mhm.
known about the Levy film for a while, but it's never been like
Yeah.
officially a thing. But it's nice to
Mhm.
get like an official
Yeah.
announcement, and then it's like, oh, also here's the date, and we're filming in fall.
Yeah.
Like unless God forbid something
Yeah.
happens, of course, it's more likely to happen than not at this
Yeah.
point.
So something finally uh escaping the in development
Yes.
prison
Yay!
development bubble, and is now, as Sean Levy said, this is not in development, it's in production. So
Yes.
that's exciting. That's exciting. Star Wars being a film franchise, but there's still streaming news. There's still some shows to talk about. I think the second biggest news, at least the things I care about, I don't know, in terms of screen stuff that I care about, we got the reveal that the next animated show will be Maul Shadow Lord, starring the one and only Sam Witwer, coming in 2026. And of course, it's going to be set, probably in and around Bad Batch. After that, in the Dark Times, probably something about the growth of Crimson Dawn and how he builds that up. Takes that, swipes that uh, from that guy whose name I continue to forget. uh, and yeah, and he takes it over and builds it up as this formidable
Dryden Voss, you
that
mean?
guy. Yeah, that guy. I don't.
Apparently, they said he might actually have some sort of relationship to Quinlan, and at the naming
Yeah, maybe.
convention.
Yeah,
I think somebody, like official, said that. Like,
I mean they're different species,
it's
but
true.
that's okay. Yeah,
Cousins.
so yeah, definitely looking forward to coming 2026. Seb Witwer, I'm such a fan of Seb Witwer. Um, Darth Maul may have a new apprentice. I think you're referring to the Twi'lek there, the red Twi'lek. Darth Maul having a red Twi'lek apprentice. This is like mining George Lucas's scripts, and of course the Darth Talon legacy comic. Probably not going to be dressed like Darth Talon, would be my guess for an animated show, but you never know. It's not what we saw or we didn't see in the trailer. Oh, yes, this trailer was publicly released, right?
No,
So,
I wasn't.
oh, it wasn't?
It,
Okay. Never mind. I didn't see it. So yeah, so I'm
I
excited about that. There is some Visions news. So Visions Volume 3 says that's going to go back to more Japanese influence being announced in Japan. And then there's going to be some of those are going to be sequels to, like, I forget which ones, but
the Duel, the
yes.
Village Bride, and the Ninth Jedi.
Yes, it's going to be sequels to previous stories, so we should go back and watch those again. There we
They're
go.
all Jedi focused, so
Yeah, and then there's going to be like a new show. I'm just going off memory here. Something about a new show that's going to be uh just one story over across a whole series. So that's exciting too. Visions, always great. Again, I'm glad that they brought that front and center in Japan. So that's the animated news. What do you think of especially Darth Maul, Shadow Lord?
Oh yeah, I think the animated stuff was probably like my favorite, maybe my favorite, well, maybe my second favorite thing that they've announced on the panels
Mhm.
overall.
Well, is Starfighter first or
No, well, the next thing will be my first.
okay? Nice.
Um, but I
Mhm.
mean, it's definitely battling each other. But like yeah, I mean, I'm excited for both things quite a lot because I'm a big fan of Star Wars animation in general, and it's nice to
Mhm.
continue with that. Oh, and by the way, there was a screening for Tales of the Underworld,
Mm.
which I heard was very good.
Nice. Yeah.
This I will say no more. Um,
Thank you.
but oh yeah, but yeah, Maul Shadow Lord. I really like it. It's really cool to see Darth Maul. I saw a little bit of the trailer.
Mhm.
Clone Wars animation continues just to look gorgeous. It's a little different, looks a little more grit, a
Mhm.
little more dark. I guess, and I think what's intriguing about it is, I guess Star Wars is really gonna have to ask itself, how do you tell a bad guy story? Um,
Mhm.
because so often we get the central characters are the heroes, Bad Batch, the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
Rebels, of course.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's not either nor here. He's not a hero.
Mhm.
Darth Maul is a sad, sad little Zabrak.
Yeah.
And how do you kind of tell that story? I mean,
Mhm.
I doubt they're gonna glorify Maul or anything like that.
No.
But it's like,
Sorry.
oh, Steve, are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay. But I wonder, like, how you gonna like tell that story? Because, like, with Bad Batch and Rebels, you can have your goofy moment, you can have your fun moments, like,
Mhm.
her, like Zeb and Ezra are gonna get groceries and have fun. But like, I don't think Darth Maul's gonna get groceries. If he's gonna get groceries, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
problem for everybody. Um,
It'd be interesting.
so it's gonna be cool, like seeing then like a very
Mhm.
probably a dark show. I mean, as dark, maybe not as dark as like maybe Andor can get dark,
Mhm.
and you'll
Yeah.
see why if you once you watch the last episode. But it's still gonna be Darth Maul
Mhm.
being bad guy and the crime and ruling through the crime underworld. And also, I'm
Mhm.
just kind of curious. Like, there's been some talk in some interviews, like, what's Maul doing? How does he feel about the Jedi being dead? How does he feel
Mm.
about the Empire being around? Will Palpatine send Vader to to put Maul in his place?
Mm.
Yeah, as somebody kind of joked, Palpatine sending one of his sons to deal with the troubled son.
Mhm. Interesting.
Like deal with your older brother.
Yes.
Vader. Will we see that? Will we see Dathomir?
Mhm.
I have a feeling probably the Twilight character will probably be the closest thing to like a moral center, or at least somebody who's not going to be just
Mm.
evil. Because obviously Darth Maul can't get a redemption arc. We know
Right.
his ultimate end,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
No.
But so I think that
Yeah.
in terms of Maul Shadow, I love the name Maul Shadow Lord. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
cool. I'm very interested with that as well. I'll let you respond before I get into like my vision thoughts.
Yeah. It's curious. Again, it's gonna be a darker show. I mean, parts of Clone Wars got super dark, right?
That's true.
I mean, the Order 66 stuff, Order 66, and that brilliant, the Siege of Mandalore arc, that Maul, everything with Maul in Clone Wars,
I'll
right?
just say, when you see
Yeah.
Andor episode 3, you'll know what I mean by dark.
Yeah. I mean, you've already hinted a bit, but even this animation, is this going to be a kids show? I mean, every animation, Star Wars animation, kinda is, but Rebels is more than Clone Wars. Um, Bad Batch kind of is, but I mean, features a kid. By the end of Clone Wars, Ahsoka is not really a kid. she's
Right.
a she's a young woman. She's I mean, an older teenager, but it really, I mean, leaves the Order holds her own. So, sorry, gotta
That's
gotta get the lozenges in. Um, so yeah, I can see this. I mean, it's going to have a bit of levity, and that's the thing with the Acolyte, for example, right? It needed more levity, and that it offs them.
It kind of
Uh,
reminds me of the Acolyte a bit because we got two Darksiders that are
yeah,
kind of central
yeah.
characters.
I think one way to write a villain-centric story, I mean, we're on Tractor Beam here. Ask Charles Soule. Ask Cullen Bunn, who wrote the 2017 Mall comic. Ask Benjamin Percy, who wrote Black, White, Red. Don't go as dark as Black, White, Red. That's not going to work in an animated show. But there are ways to do it, right? There are ways to. I mean, there's lots of other non-Star Wars properties that have villain stories all over the place. You know, we enjoy those lots. So I'm sure there's animated shows that are villain stories. You could probably think of one. I
Lots
don't.
of anime. Lots of
Yeah.
anime.
So definitely doable.
Mhm.
Again, and comics is a type of grown-up animation, even though it's static and on paper. But I think to be inspired by it, you know, Charles Soule and Kevin Scott, they were involved in the Lego. Why not? And Charles has been involved. Charles was involved in. Well, they were both. I think they were both consultants on the Acolyte, and Charles was also a consultant on She-Hulk. So, you know, he has. I mean, he has a few shows in production. So he's no stranger to. I mean, he hasn't written Maul as much, but he's no stranger to television and how that world works. So he can figure it out. So yeah, I think get that kind of story influence. I mean, you know, storytellers can do that too. So there you go. You have Vision's thoughts. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I think I'm very excited about the Vision shorts kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting to expand out beyond just shorts.
Mm,
You know, I
yeah.
think every Vision short is in its own way, like its own universe. Just you get a little glimpse of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten some expansions. There's been some
Yeah.
comics, although I think that was an original story. There's the
Yeah.
Ronin novel, which I always hear from everybody is like fantastic, like
Mm-hmm.
top tier canon, top tier new Star Wars novel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, I think it's really interesting, and I'm going to be curious to see um how it's structured. The Ninth
Mm-hmm.
Jedi getting a whole limited series. On Instagram, they said it was a limited series, so my guess it's just like a one and done thing. But like,
Mm-hmm.
is that 10 episodes? Is that 13? Is it 30 minutes each? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm very curious to see just that. And people love anime. Anime is one of the biggest things ever. People love anime more than they love anything else.
Yeah.
It's just a genre, it's a style. And I'm very curious to see how Star Wars translates into that style as not just a short, but as a full on 20, I think 20, hopefully 22
Yeah.
minute, 10 and 10, 13 episode length. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
make it more than 9, please. And kind of see these little universes that they're building like expand out and their stories and the stories told.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very curious to see how this goes, and I hope it's successful. And I don't think they gave a date, so I think we might have to wait a year. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch it. I know I kind of. It's hard. Admittedly, you know, I think I was messaging you or Chris or one of those. It's hard for me to get as excited by this just because it's just harder. It's just more work to get into it because it's like taking the familiar imagery, but without meaning the same things that we know. And so, but that challenge is part of the point, I think. So, talking about Visions, as these stories get to be more connected to each other, and they have stories that are more connected, that's gonna go by the wayside. Similar, maybe to, and we'll get into this soon with Ahsoka and how um, the uncanny plateau went away with the show. I didn't have it just because I got
I
more
also just think they're
time.
getting better at translating the animation stuff. So
Yeah. So, but my point being, yeah, with Visions, I'm gonna get more into it, more used to it. You know, I'm wondering why they don't bother. I mean, they're doing canon manga. Why don't they do canon anime?
I wish. I
That's
mean,
gotta
I
be the
would
next
love.
step,
They
right?
did it with Gendy Tartakovsky stuff. I mean, that was as canon.
Effectively, yeah.
I mean, and that didn't. I mean, you know, and people are like, well, you know, base media is not going like running up the walls, but it's like
Yeah.
they said that was canon, and you know, it's like it's very stylized.
We loved it.
Oh,
They all
yeah, we
love
love.
it.
I mean,
So yeah,
people will still call that the greatest Star Wars animation thing ever. I mean,
Mhm.
especially older kids
Sure.
my age. But I mean,
Yeah.
regardless, it's still stylized. So yeah, I agree. Why not just do it with canon?
And I gotta say, yeah, you're right about anime. I mean, every con in North America, at least half of it, at least a third of it is anime. Fan Expo Canada, New York Comic Con, so
Mhm.
much anime. Uh, both folks who are Asian American, Asian Canadians, and everyone else, right? So into it, cosplayers all over. Um, definitely, I know. I think there's a big foray, big following in the African American community, the Black community. They
Mhm.
love anime. A lot of folks love anime. And so, like, even this is kind of an anecdote. Went to a one Fan Expo Canada. I think was it Fan Expo last year? We went to uh Dom, our buddy Dan, and I went to an after party, and it was basically a hip hop anime
Oh,
show
nice. That
party.
sounds.
It was awesome. And they did like covers of like hip hop covers of anime songs. So all that to say is you want to reach different demographics. You want to that's the point of Visions, I think, is trying to reach different demographics,
Different cultures.
different cultures, parts of the world. Like they literally this is literally Japanese on my shirt here, Um do a canon anime story
I would
story,
love that. I would love
you
that.
know?
One thing I'd be curious if since you're gonna
Yeah.
watch it and to see what you think of it.
Mm,
Not so much the canon of it all, but since
sure.
you love the Jedi. I mean, that's your
Yeah.
thing. To see the Jedi depicted by Eastern culture as they
True.
are. That's everyone's like, well, George took a lot from Buddhist Eastern culture. The Jedi have always been depicted as they are originally the samurai of Star
Yeah.
Wars. I mean, Hidden Fortress is basically Star Wars. What do the Jedi feel and look like when they are finally depicted by
Hmm.
their cultural
Yeah.
ancestors?
Hmm.
So that'll be neat to see, kind of like if there's a philosophy difference, or is it we're going truly, are maybe this might sound weird, messy, but this is hear me out. It might feel weird because in a weird way we're going back to the roots, like we are
Hmm.
stripping it down. We're like it's almost like reverse psychology, where it's like
For,
it's so different because it's so the original source material,
for reverse engineering the Jedi there.
almost like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it makes sense that they've done this, right? That's
Mhm,
why it is a natural fit.
mhm,
The Eastern influences on Star Wars are obvious and clear. No, they're
mhm,
not necessarily obvious, but
mhm.
oh yeah, of course, George Lucas was inspired by heavily inspired. Because High Republic is incredibly Western,
Oh
dude,
yeah,
up the wazoo, like consciously Western.
we didn't even talk
And
about the nine of the Child of the Jedi. Which I just realized.
yeah, um, like Camelot, right?
Yeah.
Like our culture's myths, like English culture's myths and whatnot, and just the religious bases of it. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, to get more Eastern, delve into the more Eastern influences of Star Wars. Yeah, it's due for sure.
Mhm.
Although of course there have been great High Republic manga, and that's
Oh, yeah.
where the only Star Wars manga I've read. It's the only manga I've read. Period. Full stop. You mentioned we're gonna see. This is a segue. We're gonna mention last little bit. We can talk about. Uh, gonna see might see Dathomir in Darth Maul in the Maul show. We are most likely, most certainly, definitely gonna see Dathomir in Ahsoka season 2. Well, we saw it in Ahsoka season 1, right? For a second.
We saw it for like 1 second
Well,
in.
for a second. So we're definitely gonna see it in Ahsoka season 2. This is the one that filming starts this week.
Yes.
Fantastic panel. Really enjoyed this panel. For multiple reasons, news, updates, and insights on the collaboration between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and I'll get to that in a bit. But first off, confirmed, Rory McCann is taking on the role of Balin Skull. This was the confirmation of it. Of course, we knew about this for a while, but they've this is yes. Now I'm coming back to me. Rosario and Rory McCann have been in training for the last few months, choreographing everything together, and now they're about to start filming this week. Ahsoka season 2, and carrying on that seriousness, and that Rory McCann is carrying on the seriousness and depth that Ray Stevenson so fully established in season 1. And so I think maybe it was Filoni or Favreau was saying that that because Ray Stevenson did so much of the groundwork, Rory McCann can just slot right in and take over the character so easily. And so, and of course, he's such a great talent as well. So there's that. Both Ray Stevenson and oh gosh,
Rory McCann?
No, the Shin Hati who plays her,
Ivana
Sanko. Sakto, yeah. How they're such nice people. They're villainous characters. Kind of makes sense. You gotta be able to think. You gotta be empathetic in order to bring that out. Another big piece of news that you're excited about, Joel. A chunk of the season will be already a huge fleet battle, including he's not going to write the line, but including Admiral Akbar taking on Grand Admiral Thrawn for the first time ever. I guess does he inherit the Empire in the Thrawn trilogy?
Yeah, he goes up against Akbar in the Thrawn trilogy in the final battle too. So
there we go.
Yeah.
So we're already getting this in this show. I'll pause and say, that was surprising. I thought the big climactic battle will be in the film, the Filoni film, which it still might be, but we're gonna get one in this season as well. So that's exciting. Folks in the hall were able to see an Empire Strikes Back style old school trailer. So there is footage. They'll put together footage. And then this is what I was referring to in terms of collaboration. Jon Favreau, he made an interesting comment about his work with Dave Filoni, and he said, because Rosario Dawson, she was there on stage, and how her and Jon Favreau, cat sighting, good job. Her and Jon Favreau come from a more indie world where the focus is more on finding the moment in an actor's performance and having to figure out casting and having to be nimble on a smaller budget. And of course, Dave Filoni comes from animation and from the tutelage of George Lucas, and that is far more about planning out structure and sequences and is far more visually driven. Of course, animation would be we've all seen the Lucas storyboards with the highlighter, check that looks good, all that, the designs. And so the fact, the magic of, say, The Mandalorian, and now especially Ahsoka, is in how in Ahsoka season 2 they've really got they're saying they've really got the recipe down. I mean, with season 1, I think they did too, in saying, here's the Dave Filoni character, but with Rosario Dawson and Jon Favreau's indie concerns about moments and performances and whatnot. Of course, we have Mary Elizabeth Winstead and all the other performances as well, coming to the fore. And of course, another confirmation that Hayden Christensen is coming back as the George Lucas character, Anakin Skywalker. And they talked about being true to the story, of course, being true to the story that George gave us in the prequels. But yeah, like we've said, the strength, and Hayden himself came on stage, and I think he was the one who said the strength of, well, maybe it was Favreau who said this, the strength of this show is that Anakin is there, not so much for Anakin's story, but for Ahsoka's and what she needs to move forward, and definitely serving the story at hand. And that's fascinating because I always think, the chosen one, he sucks a lot of gravity, right? That's Thrawn alliances, right? He just sucks all that gravity, whether it's Anakin or Vader. In Ahsoka, in the Thrawn alliances, and Ahsoka, in different ways, it's both. But even in Rebels, for example, Vader in Rebels, it doesn't. They found a way. They found a way to be careful with him, right?
Right.
Dave Filoni and everyone found a way to be careful with him, and so Henry Gilroy. So here, yeah, I mean, even in episode 5, that episode 5 is my favorite live action Star Wars episode. Really, really serving Ahsoka's story well. Also to say, we know we're gonna delve into Mortis and Ray Stevenson. Not Ray. Well, Ray Stevenson. We have the image of Ray Stevenson standing on the father, pointing out. Part of the daughter's there too. Filoni said that. Filoni said that. Again, bringing in this George Lucas idea to live action in our time, in 2025, 2026.
Yeah.
Whenever we get this show. So yeah, this thing could turn out to be the greatest, right? This thing could be season 2 could be the single greatest season of Star Wars TV, which is run for money because Clone Wars season 7, in my books at least. This could be something really special, and has the makings of something truly special. So I'm glad this is where we're kind of ending it on. But what are your thoughts on Ahsoka season 2 and all the news of Celebration?
I think one thing I took away was something they said was sort of like, since season 1's over and they sort of got all the setup and stuff.
Mhm.
Now it's sort of like now they really get to play, and now they can kind of really run with it. And I mean, hey, it's the novelty of having a second season. I know, what a shocker! I
Right.
didn't even know. Can you do that? I didn't know you could.
It's why they left the cliffhanger, so we'd pressure them.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that's really interesting. I think I'm very curious to see how kind of these two storylines of where the Republic versus Thrawn link up with whatever the confrontation between Balin and Ahsoka is gonna end up being. I mean,
Mhm.
you saw the trailer. The concept, I mean, looked like gonna be really interesting with like all the stuff on Peridia with the
Yeah.
machines, and looks like Thrawn's got his Night Sister commandos. And
I don't think I actually saw that one. I glimpsed it. It was hard to see.
Oh, you
But-
didn't see the whole? It's the Empire Strikes Back one with the.
Yeah, it was hard to tell what was going on because I didn't.
Oh,
It was described
well,
to me in my brain, but also it was hard to see what was happening.
oh, there's like, I mean, there's some really cool concept art, like Thrawn in his command chair, looking at a big old evil screen of evil. We got like, looks like the Home One getting attacked and attacked by Thrawn's forces. Like, you got Enoch, the guy in the gold mask, like he's like doing some cool stuff, and like there's some Night Sister commanders behind him, like yeah, and there's like, got Thrawn standing by his officers looking all evil, and Ezra's like getting into a pilot ship, and got Ahsoka and Sabine battling ancient looking Zepho looking robots, and
Right.
got
Think about
and
that.
it's-
Remember? Yeah.
and like at the end, the narrator goes, and it's all leading to the final climactic battle between Ahsoka Tano and fallen Jedi Knight Balin Skull.
Yeah.
That's then it's a big explosion with Thrawn's face in it. So I definitely feel like this is pumping up. It's like, okay, maybe if season 1 was a little slow, kind of set up, and like Thrawn only getting 3 episodes. Like now it's like Thrawn's here, let's go, big battle, action,
Mhm.
really pump up the stuff, and 'cause, you do have a second season. This is filming in England. Also, may not be the quote unquote New Republic story, but this has definitely got the New Republic more involved in the
Mhm.
actual fight against Thrawn. With Akbar in command, Admiral Akbar, and apparently like they're redoing the puppet mask, so it looks nicer, and the
Mhm.
animatronics all come together, which is good. I mean, if you're gonna make him more of a character, you gotta at least make him look nicer if he's
Yeah.
gonna be on screen and doing stuff.
Mhm.
And I've seen people who were like they liked Thrawn in the season 1, but they just felt he only got 3 episodes, and all he really does is just run away. It's like he doesn't do much. I mean, which is,
Run away.
it's kind of true. Yeah, he's kind of like doesn't do that much, but
Yeah.
just kind of tail it out. Now
He does that a lot in Rebels too. To be fair.
It seems like now it's like okay, like
Yeah.
it's only like okay, now let's get to show a war. Like I think this was. I hope like if it all goes well, this is going to
Yeah.
show Thrawn in his element of a battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think they're trying to up the scale, maybe tweak whatever needed tweaking.
Mhm.
With season 1, make better. Whatever was good is gonna be better. Whatever maybe fell a little flat, they can tweak and heat
Mhm.
up with some visuals and maybe a little bit more faster, more intense stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, hey, that's what a second season's supposed to do: improve.
Yep.
A novel thought for streaming. I know.
What?
I
What?
mean, what I know. But yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely looking like it's gonna be a lot of fun,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of curious how the story plays,
Mhm.
and kind of how the story, like you said, how the story plays with Filoni's movie now. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna kill off Thrawn in the show. So it's like, okay, well, what now does the movie look like? What's the final? What's the movie about? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's all exciting and cool, and I'm
Yeah.
very excited.
You mean a second season can really be great, even if the first season was good or mediocre? Did Manny
Oh,
Jacinto bring out the Chimera mask? What happened
oh,
there?
but I
Yeah,
know, right?
he did. Who knew? Yeah, who knew? Yeah. Anyway, I guess I don't have Jordan in there. I still have Anakin from last week. There we go. Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, the New Republic story. That we're getting more of it, at least. You're right, and I think, I think we still could see Mon Mothma. I mean, we've gotten plenty of her. It's not a spoiler to say we've gotten plenty of her in Andor already.
Mhm,
Uh, Jennifer Riley putting in a shift. I
mhm.
think we could see her too. Well, if we saw Leia, that'd be something in this one,
I'm a
especially
be a little bit
if.
worried if they did play it because I'm not convinced Filoni's ready to recast that yet. One
Oh
thing,
yeah, so good.
no, I was gonna say it's one thing to do Balin because he's still a new character,
Yeah.
and I know even with that, I know they was hard prep, but that's understandable. I mean,
Mhm.
passing of an actor, but like I still feel like in the Lucasfilm ethos, the Luke and Leia are very much we gotta have a big meeting about this. This is
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they've had meetings about it. I'm just saying, like, as a kind of a backdoor tease to something next. But also, that's the thing with Ahsoka,
Mhm.
and Ahsoka meeting up with Luke and how they, did the CG thing. What's Anakin's legacy? And, Dom's talked about this. We've talked about this. Anakin's legacy in this time period after he's returned. Again, that's in part of what episode 5 of season 1 is doing. Season 2 is going to do it even more, especially I think with the Mortis stuff. That's the thing. It's just going to delve into Ahsoka's role in Mortis, but Anakin has a role in Mortis too. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very curious and excited, and really, yeah, high expectations for this one. Yeah, I'm expecting it to blow it out of the water. So it better. We'll see. There we go. Also, the how Balin, Balin and Shin. I mean, they set this up in season 1, but Balin and Shin and Ahsoka and Sabine being the kind of the mirrors of each other, not the kind of being the mirrors of each other. To see how Mortis plays in that. What does Mortis mean and look like in live action too? Right?
I mean,
Like, I don't think we're gonna do what they did in animation. Right? I don't think we're gonna get the daughter, or the daughter's dead or whatever. Oh no, the daughter's not dead. The daughter's in Ahsoka. I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. He's got the world between worlds, but that's a bit easier to do because that's just the concept. Mortis was like a planet. So
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
they're good.
No, I know our friend, our Dominic always had a little bit of an issue with what Periddy looks like, and that's another one of those things where it's like,
Mhm.
I hope they can
Yeah.
improve with the second season, and maybe they get
Mm.
a little bit more budget, and maybe filming in
Yeah.
England helps, where they can kind of make Peridia look a bit more weird.
Well, make Pretty look more like Mortis. Is that kind of what the thought is, or because I mean they could make Mortis in live action. Is what they're going to do the father and the son? I don't know, but
I think you could probably get
uh,
the son. He's just bold. You get Sam Witwer, paint his eyes red.
yeah, but I don't know. But that's the thing there, and we'll talk about this when it happens. But I kind of like the idea of them being a bit more mythical in this. That live action just needs to be a little more grounded and kind of closer to what Sabine was getting at with them being archetypes and the mythos of it. Um, yeah, we can go and tap into the power. I don't know. I'm satisfied with the mountain being the visual, and maybe some other visual symbols, maybe a voice, but maybe not an actual face or body.
I can
I
see
think.
that, especially if they're not quite sure they can pull it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. So there we go. Lastly, I put it on the ticker, so we got to talk about it. Zero Company set in the Clone Wars. This is the turn-based game, right?
Yes.
Set in the Clone Wars. Uneasy allies fighting a shadow war. Very quickly, Joel, what are your thoughts and feels about Zero Company? Are you going to play it?
I don't think I can because I don't think I have the systems for it. But in terms of the story, very interesting. The story of like, well, you have an Umbaran who's like not happy the Republic's invading his planet.
Right.
You got as a disgraced Republic officer, you got a disgraced clone. You have a Jedi. It's set during the Clone War, during a Shadow War. That apparently gonna try to stop something that's like could harm everyone. Like, what else is going on during the Clone Wars? Like, I guess Darth like it doesn't sound like Darth Maul. Like that got covered. So it's like, what else was happening during the Clone Wars that is causing chaos to even to both Republic and Separatist at the moment? So
Right.
very curious to see what the story is at the very least. But yeah, that's kind of my thing.
I mean, that Umbaran arc, it's great. It's weird.
Yeah.
So, and it's not, it's very mysterious in that there could be lots of other things. It's all dark, right? There could be lots of other things happening. And so here's another pocket of story. You get the sense that other things are happening that we can't control or see or understand. Maybe that's kind of the sense of unease. And I mean, Krell being Krell gives us that sense of unease too, until you know what he's up to and why he's up to it. But yeah, this would be another pocket of story out on Umbara, with an Umbaran at least. So yeah, there we go. Video game madness. There you go. Lastly, as is the celebration tradition, we get the reveal. It's coming home. I was close. I thought Anaheim. Gonna be 2-hour commute away from. No, I'm just kidding. It's gonna be however long that is from Anaheim to probably the LA Convention Center downtown, and the week after Easter. So, I mean, Joel, this will be what a 5-6 hour drive for you. Just kidding.
No, this
I'm
is
kidding.
more like a 2 hour
I'm kidding.
at the best.
I'm making fun of Los Angeles traffic. What little I know of it. I should talk. Toronto's an hour away from Toronto. Yeah. So Star Wars Celebration, Los Angeles, right about the year 2027, and this is the week after Easter. So I really should go. I really should go.
Good.
This Japan. I mean, we had a lot to talk about, but it was kind of light on the big news reveals. It been great to see people. But yeah, LA 2027. If I can do my utmost darndest to make it, and Joel, you're already planning and trying to figure out how to make the trek. So yeah, Celebration, Los Angeles Star Wars. I'm using the acronym SWCLA 2027. Yeah. Thoughts, feels.
I mean, hey, Anaheim. I mean, it's still doable for me, so that's nice. Yeah. It's the 50th anniversary, and it will be a month before the Sean Levy movie, as well, which is nice. I was actually talking to Ben about this year, and I said to him, I said, one of the more sadder, not sadder thing, but it's like one of the kind of the unfortunate things about this year, was unfortunately kind of everything was like all the projects are kind of like not at the right time. It's still too early for like some mass marketing campaigns for Mando. It's too late for Andor because Andor's like the week after. Ahsoka's not even filming yet. Maul's not till 2026. So it's sort of like everything's a little too early to really start getting like public hype for like everything. So, but I mean, so, but you still want to have the 50th anniversary, and you need to have the 50th anniversary. So it's sort of like, I kind of had to skip 2026 to get 2027. But no, I mean, I'm excited. It's LA. I can do LA at least. That's a little more doable for me. Um, I have no idea what I'm gonna do outside of that because everyone's gonna do their own thing. So who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It's gonna be a month before the Levy film, so I'm sure there'll be lots of hype for that. And of course, 50th anniversary. They tend to do a little bit more in the States because I guess
Yeah.
America.
It's 4 days.
So, it's a little bit more than
Yeah.
this. Maybe there'll be more announcements, more of a sense of the
Mhm.
future. Um, Maybe a show announcement. Who
Yeah.
knows? Um, but yeah, this is exciting, and I hope I can go. Oh, and I forgot. Hopefully by then, the George Lucas Museum will also be open.
Yes, that's the thought. I think
hmm
it's gonna be around because it's gonna be, and that the convention center is pretty close, right? And also close to the Chinese theater and like Hollywood Strip, Hollywood Boulevard, and all those famous things that I've only heard of, never actually been to until hopefully this summer. But
I've been to the Chinese theater, so
yeah. There we go. Yeah. So Los Angeles, City of Angels, even though the gold for the 50th anniversary there. Also, I mean, Last Jedi at 10. Hey,
that's true.
hey, hey, hey.
Yeah.
People going there are gonna love probably Last Jedi fans. Why not? Also the next publishing initiative.
Ooh,
Why
I
not?
hope so. I hope so. Yeah. I mean, they didn't say anything during this panel, so it's like,
Mhm.
I guess take a year off, kind of,
Yeah.
let things simmer. We don't want oversaturation. We see this with the screen stuff, as we see now. We're down to one movie and one show, and a
Mhm.
couple animated projects, which I think will help with like the oversaturation. Maybe even the books too. Maybe a little calmer, a little. I don't want to drag this out too much, Matthew. We're turning this into Ion Cannon. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I'm kind of low key okay with after Andor, and then
Mhm.
technically after there can be a Visions thing too. But after Andor and after Tales, I'm kind of okay with the break we're gonna get. I feel like I'm ready for like a few months of just quiet.
Mhm.
Maybe catch up on some books. Catch we rewatch some shows and movies. Maybe I'm ready for like some good, some quiet and some reflection before we move on to 2026 and like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, comics are gonna keep going forward. There's a bunch of novels coming out.
Oh yeah,
So that's exciting. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably get a YouTube special thing for like an hour YouTube thing in January of 2026, being like this, not even an hour, like probably a 15-minute like the What is Project Luminous thing they did in Chicago, which we were expecting. I thought they do that here. Maybe they don't quite know, maybe they're not ready to announce it, but maybe they don't have plans. Who knows? I doubt that. High Republic has been so successful. So yeah, we'll probably get a little
teach those
tease.
poor authors a break. They need a moment.
Well, bring a whole new cast, bring a whole new set of authors
Oh, that'd be
on
nice.
board.
That too.
Maybe one from phase 2 for continuity, from High Republic phase 2. But yeah, just we'll probably get a little tease January, February 2026, and then a full-on panel of announcing things, or then a full-on panel early 2027, then a panel really going into it here at Celebration. So yeah, it'll be a good one. I agree. This one was a lot of this is coming, it's on the way. Japan 2025. This one will be Mandalorian Grogu's already out, been out for a year. Lots of the books and comics have been out for a year. The Levy film is coming out, so they'll do the big push and probably the final trailer, Starfighter. But there'll be a Ahsoka will have been done. Details about the Filoni film, details about Ray and everything going on.
Details about Mangold film, please.
Mangold, yeah, that'd be amazing. Please, yeah. So yeah, I think this is gonna have a lot to talk about. A lot, but my point being, a lot to look back on and comment on, which I always prefer.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this. Although I might be wrong. Sorry, my brain kind of fried for like a few seconds.
Yeah.
Of what I wonder.
Celebration looking back versus looking forward.
No, more like I mean, yeah, that too. And like if 2027, like how much of the third movie post Levy would they have ready? Because like.
Yeah.
Would they be filming? I think my brain's kind of trying to figure out production dates if they moved ahead with another one because Levy would probably be
Hopefully.
finished filming by then, so they probably would want to have something filming.
I mean, depending on how these films do in box office
That's true.
is another thing.
That's
Like
true.
Mando Grogu is probably going to do great. Is it going to do off the chart spectacular? Maybe.
I don't think it needs to. I don't think they.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what's Iger going to see? What's the Disney app's going to see? But
well, we can worry about that when we get there. But yeah, I think I agree. I think I like the celebration. It was very quaint. That's the word.
Yes. And Coach Con, they showed some stuff. I was able to see. They showed the Ahsoka panel. They showed the publishing panel. So there we go.
They showed the animation panel.
There we go. Alrighty. I think that just about does it. We got all the way through. This is an hour and a half. I know we started late, so I'm gotta watch Andor, see episode 3, in about 10 minutes or whenever we're done. But next week, Chris will be back. Next week, April 30th. It'll be the whatever week of comics, 18th week of comics. We're gonna sort out what we catch up on. For the record, Rise of Skywalker number 3 comes out, Codebreaker number 1, High Republic Adventures number 17, and the Battle of Ariadu are, at least in the schedule I have, are scheduled to come out. That's a lot of books. We also have to talk about both Edge of Balance books, and I did get a copy of the Beyond Victory one shot. Tom was able to grab that for me. So a whole bunch to talk about, and then right on into Free Comic Book Day on May 3rd, and then the beginning of Alex Aguirre's ongoing number 1.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be reading that one.
So we'll talk about, Chris and I will talk about how to work up a schedule about what we're going to talk about when. Might not fully match the release schedule. Putting that out. Obviously, we'll respect embargoes, obviously, but we'll probably group things by time period or something like that. So stay tuned for what we talk about next week. Stay tuned for Tractor Beam coming all the way, coming up every Wednesday. On the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, and stay tuned on the Iron Cannon podcast where we're talking about Andor. That's it. Just Andor. I mean, we'll talk about some other things, probably get into our usual week of Star Wars, but definitely check us out Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Joel, it's been fun the last 2 weeks having you on Tractor Beam.
Yeah,
we'll obviously figure out when you can come on next, but glad to have you aboard. Obviously, we'll see you Monday. But where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at JID20234 on Blue Sky, JID20234 on Blue Sky, and of course on the Star Wars Underworld Discord, where remember this Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, we are watching Star Wars Andor Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3.
Nice. Of course, on the Iron Cannon Blue Sky, you got the Book of the Day and some other things.
Yes, I've been a little off my game with the Book of the Day. Unfortunately, I've been a little busy, but I'll definitely try to get back on that.
Yeah, fun times. You can follow my personal Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky, MNAUG1138, mostly Instagram. Do more Instagram stories these days. Also beaches.foodie, although I haven't posted in a bit. Still on Twitter, NAUG485, and Iron Cannon Pod. There we go. And again, Iron Cannon Podcast this Monday. Again, next week we will figure catching up on comics, The Edge of Balance and the Beyond Victory and some other things coming out next week. Whole bunch of books coming out next week. So we'll stay tuned on the socials for that. Check out the flagship tomorrow. They're talking about Andor. They're probably talking about celebration things, I'm guessing. So give that a look right here on the Underworld YouTube channel, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But yes, and then of course Iron Cannon and Tractor Beam comics reviews coming in hot next Wednesday. Until then, happy reading.